Morning class. Today I'm going to be talking about Star Wars. So, I mean, Star Wars episode 8 coming out. The Last Jedi. So this is pretty relevant to everyone because I'm encouraging you all to go watch it and not to be confused because I'm going to be talking about stormtroopers. Stormtroopers, clone troopers, and the difference between them two. Because most of the time, most people get confused. It's the display one, right? No.
It appears that you've turned the projector off.
Well, I'll let it load up right now.
All right. Is it flashing still?
It's flashing onto the off one.
Okay. When it's done flashing off, you can push the on button and it'll come back on.
Moving on to the, I first got to introduce the Galactic Republic, which I'm going to inform you guys about right now. It's basically made up of like a democratic society, just like how we are, but a little different. From the thousands of different planets that is within the Star Wars universe, they're all represented by certain individuals, and they're all senators from their planets, and they all have the president title, or the president title is called Supreme Chancellor, which is Chancellor Palpatine, if you guys would have known that. And moving on to the clone troopers for the Galactic Republic would be clone troopers. And these clone troopers are made from birth in a planet called Camino. A planet called Camino, but the thing's still off.
Right now.
Try it now.
It will take a minute to warm up.
Okay. Well, I can't show you the visual aid between the different clone troopers that are right there in Camino, but these people were in preparation for the Clone Wars, and within the Clone Wars, there was millions of clone troopers that were in production. Thanks to their aging process, it took only a matter of 10 years for them to be in active service for the Battle of Geonosis. And then moving on to the transitioning of the Galactic Republic into the Galactic Empire. Here's the Republic and their picture. And then these are phase 1 clones, and then they transitioned into phase 2 because it was just more comfortable for their individual clones. And then as I was talking about the Galactic Empire, the Republic transitioned into them after the downfall of the Republic, and they had stormtroopers, which is completely different from clone troopers. These are individual people who are conscripted into service. Most of them are just in conscripted service because they need a job and they pay very well. And so after the downfall of the Galactic Empire, the First Order came around, which is in the new ones, in the prequels. These individuals are conscripted at birth, so they're adopted as a child, and they're taught to be battle-hardened, battle-tested individuals. And as you can see, these are the First Order Stormtroopers, which is pretty different from these guys because of the helmets mainly. And compared to these ones, First Order Stormtroopers could actually aim and shoot, unlike the Stormtroopers, which is, I'm pretty sure you guys know that these ones missed, if you guys get the memo. But moving on to these guys, I personally do like the First Order Stormtroopers, but original, I prefer the clone troopers because they were battle-hardened, battle-tested at childbirth, and were genetically modified from a specific individual that was a legend. And that would have concluded my presentation. I didn't mention changes because I found one over I know, but I got you guys want to change this. Here's
See what happens.
because it's angle fit, and then all the bones are
Okay, cool.
rotation of him.
He was talking about
And then
going.
all of that is rotation of him as well, but it's
So he was like,
I'm like, oh, this is cool.
that's like his own son. Basically, yeah. They're like battle. There's the clones, which are my personal favorites, because they're freaking badass. And then the stormtroopers, which are just regular people, like how he went into the service, like into the army. Yeah, he'll be the stormtroopers. And then the first order ones are just, they're taken from birth, and then they're just battle tested every day, from birth all the way to the soldiers. You like the first orders?
so nice.
Does it connect? I can like taste it right now.
I already feel satisfied.
All right, Javier, the greeting is, I mean, it's okay, but it's kind of boring. It doesn't get us into the topic the way that you want it to. This is a subject that ought to be fun and enjoyable and exciting because you're talking about something that you care about, and you're treating the characters practically as if they are real. So it seems to me like there ought to be something a little bit more energetic and invigorating about the opening of the speech. Instead, you treat it almost as if it's a kind of a, I don't know, we're looking at bugs and you're just telling us about bug parts, and I think there needs to be more energy about the presentation. I did think that you had an okay preview. There's a brief setup of what the content's going to be. All of the content is self-described. As far as I know, there's not a reference that's being made anyplace here. Anybody who'd seen the films or played any of the video games probably has a pretty good idea about these kinds of things. So what is it that you're bringing to this and adding to us that makes your speech worth listening to? And I think that that's something that you need to find content for and put some more into the presentation. Obviously, you had a little bit of a problem with the visual materials at the beginning, and then once you got the visual materials working, it felt like we were flicking back and forth between the visuals repeatedly, and I'm not sure that you ever, except for the difference in the uniforms, got as clear an explanation as you want about what's different about those characters. I mean, there's a little bit of humor at one point about the stormtroopers not being very good shots and the First Order troopers being a lot more accurate, but we don't get any examples or illustrations of that. It's just something that's taken as a given. So again, that's one of those things where I think you're kind of relying on the audience to know some things, but the audience already knows those things, so why are you speaking? That's why you need to give us a little bit more there. The pace, I think, got a little off from the beginning, primarily because of the issues that you had with the projector, and I thought that the conclusion really felt like it was abrupt. It just seemed to stop instead of coming to a more complete conclusion and making the point that you want us to get from the speech. So I like the subject. I thought that the visuals that you had were good. You rushed back and forth between them a little bit. That's problematic. Your descriptions are pretty solid, although I think you need a little bit more content on those things, and you need to deliver it with a little bit more verve and energy, because this is a subject that's about something that's interesting and fun. And I like the idea at the beginning when you're talking about, hey, the movie's coming up, it's important. If you are interested in this, here's a brief review of these characters that ought to mean something to you, and you should sound like it means something to you. All right, thank you.